oh, the sun's coming out. I'm down here at the lot in Anita Norm's trailer, and I don't know, it's cloudy all day up until now. I guess it's near 1 o'clock, 1 p.m., and the sun's coming out. And it's not too warm, a little chill in the air. But yesterday, well, no, yesterday wasn't that warm either. Well, it was, yes, it was very humid. It was Saturday. Yes, it was Saturday. It was real warm. It was very hot here and humid, but I like that when it's warm. So you're getting this tape rather later than I thought, because I was supposed to start it quite a while ago. But like coming down here, like I come down every week or so, every second week, and you just don't think of, when you're out camping like this, you don't think of making tapes. You're usually walking around or doing something. So I hear today, like on the news this morning, that your weather, like around Prince George anyway, was going to reach up to 35. So I guess you people are probably drinking Kool-Aid today. Hey, Nathan and Jeffrey, you're probably out in no shirt on and your little swimming trunks and swimming in your little pool, or have you got a different pool now? It must be very warm. You probably go to the beach anyways. Hey, and I guess, Jeffrey, you're not going to day school, I guess. You're not going to preschool now, eh? In the summertime? You'll be soon starting real school, eh? Like, well, it's main school anyways, eh? Grade 1, I guess. I don't know what it is you go into, primary or grade 1. But anyway, I bet you're all excited about that, eh? So, and how's Shadow? Shadow okay? And Jen and all the cats, Muffin and Kitty. I bet you they're glad to be out in the summertime, eh? So, and I bet you your daddy there's got all, hey Louis, I bet you got all that garden in there growing like weeds, eh? Or growing weeds. Probably. The garden's nice here. I helped Jean put it in, and I just threw all the seeds in and everything come up. You just throw them in and it comes up. I don't space anything. Probably comes up better that way. And I threw in squash seeds, and they're all up. And even some melon, and it's up. All kinds of things coming up. And I put some, those tomato seeds that Louis sent there. I put those in. Those hybrids or something. And they're all up. I gave Anita a few. And they're all up in Jean's garden. So, and with hers, they should have a lot of tomatoes. Holy jumpings. We did put a stand up at the road there and sell them. So the garden's doing real good, but, like, it has rained a lot here this spring. Like, there's been no spring, really. It's been kind of chilly, and it's too long coming, like. Now it's summer, but a couple of days it's hot, and then it's cool today. It's quite a breeze today, and there's quite a waves on the river there. So they got all boats down to the river a couple of weeks ago. Everybody helped with all the boats down at the river, and all different things and going on, and straightening things out, and moving this here and there. So it was really busy. So I'm going to close off for now, and I'm going to have, after a while, Nancy and Adam say hello, maybe Jean too. So I'll just stop for now. Now talk. Okay.
Hello, Jeffrey.
You don't have to talk too close.
Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Jeffrey.
And Nathan.
Hi, Jeffrey and Nathan.
Tell them who you are.
I'm Adam, you know.
No, you keep talking.
Keep talking. Just tell them some things that happened this
You went
week.
swimming.
And I did something there, you know, guys. I hurt my head, you know it. This is too, you know.
Tell me why.
And then I've been here, I got lots of things to do. And I hurt myself right in the beside my eye, you know. Where's my friend over here? And my stick and burn in my beside my eye.
Now, who do you go to talk to every morning and have a little talk with?
And sit on the bed. And he talks more.
Okay, hi Joan, this is Nancy. A little closer. Hi Joan, this is Nancy. I'm fine. I'm at Mom's. Every weekend I'm at Mom's. Talk some more if you want.
And then, you know, That's really wants more talking, more photos.
Tell them what you do at Nanny's, Papa.
And I do it, go downstairs and play with my girlfriends.
Your girlfriends? What kind of girlfriends?
And so on Nanny's couch all day.
Your girlfriend's on Nanny's couch. Oh, your dollies. Your dollies.
Yes, I know. I got my dollies like that too.
Tell them when you went fishing too.
And I went fishing too, you know. I can't let fish and I let them go. It's too small.
Right. You want to say any more?
Then we can't talk.
No.
You want to go fishing this week? You want some more?
Talk some more.
You want some more? You want to hear some more music?
Sing him a song.
I'm
I'm a lonely little petunia.
I'm a little piano in the onion patch, the onion patch. I have little piano in the onion patch, the onion patch. That is that.
Very good. Now what else do you want to say?
You want to talk with Nancy now, guys?
I know. Tell them your little verse of Had a Little Dog. Tell them now.
I have a little dog. His name is Bad Dad.
Jack.
His name put on track and drink mine and hit the doctor in the eye.
That's good. What else?
Yeah,
Hey, just a minute. We'll stop for a minute.
They are gonna have that so big toe right on my left. My right.
That's good, yeah. What else?
And you want some more fun?
What about, you know any more songs?
Let's put on the onion patch.
Same song. What else?
Yeah, dog on new tack.
Oh, tell them your little rhyme to brush your teeth.
Up like a rocket down the green and back was like a tooth.
I don't think you're talking loud enough. Talk a little bit louder.
Here, now I have let's put on the onion patch, the onion patch.
Up like a rocket.
Up like a rocket down like a rain and the back was like a tooth rain. You know what it is, Jeffrey? Brushing my teeth, you know, guys.
Okay.
So bye,
Bye,
okay?
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Bye, Jones. Bye, Daddy. Bye, Daddy.
Louis. Bye, Louis.
Bye, Louis.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, there.
Hey, Jeffrey, you hear a dragonfly? Yeah, you know it's a horsefly. You know the boardwalk, you know? Just know I got a big toe.
You got a big toe?
I like music. And I like popping, and you know. You like cities?
Oh. What's that joke you always say? It's black and white and black and white.
It's black and white. And a cow, you know, flying down the stairs. Why is second was old? You know, I go on the other side. This is funny, eh, guys? How Jeffrey, you know? Yeah, I like numbers. You like numbers too? You like number 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 9 or 10? You know, guys?
Let's show how you count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And your ABCs?
My ABCD, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, H, I, J, K, N, O, P, D, do, 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 do. do.
Okay, see, that's all now.
That's all now, okay? Goodbye.
Bye.
Did now go.
Okay. Hi, Joan. Hope you're well. I'm fine. Oh, I'm Jean. Forget who I am. Today was beautiful. Yesterday was beautiful. Today is not very nice. And I should tell you a little story what happened to your mom today. Uh-oh. Maybe she doesn't want me to say it. She locked herself out of her trailer. Now we have to go all the way to Cobden to get the extra set of keys. But that happens. Yeah, oh, that's Bob coughing. So, okay, I hope everybody's well. And Wendy. Oh, gee,
No,
just a
don't
minute.
stop
Wendy went to go home last weekend and she locked her keys in the car trunk. And it took, what is it, an hour and a half? An hour and a half. Everybody was helping, even Georgette, and then when we opened the trunk, we still couldn't find the keys. But they were in with the dog chain. So we found them finally. So Wendy went home about, 2.5 hours late, eh? Oh, gee, everybody was worried. So we have something every weekend here. It's just like, circus. Yeah, that's about the size of it. So, okay, I'll say goodbye for now, and somebody else might want to say something.
Hey, I want some do. You want to get away from me or not? I want to see a little puppy or not. You know when I go on the weather or not, eh, guys? I'm swimming, I go on the weather, you know. Now you're gonna need nothing, I go out water rings. Get away from me or not. You want some numbers or not? I want let them or air anything or you.
What is favorite color?
It is your favorite color. Blue or black.
My favorite color.
Blue, black. And what color? Forget the numbers. No, 2. You like number 2. Or number 3 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 or 12. Hey, you want some more tips or not? Anyway, you want to talk with that or not? And you want to go buy it, Jane, and that's it, made.
Okay, now talk. Go ahead.
Right.
Tell them who you are.
I'm Josh Patterson.
Talk loud.
I'm Josh Patterson, and I'm 6 years old. And I'm here to tell you a riddle.
Go ahead.
Okay. What do you call a witch in the desert? A sandwich.
Any more? Want to say another one? Hurry up. Okay, go ahead.
Why was the belt arrested? Because he held up a pair of pants.
Now talk. Ask him how.
No.
Ask him how he is. Ask him how Jeffrey is and Nathan. How are you guys? Ask him.
How are you guys doing?
Mm-hmm. So ask him to swim.
Okay.
We're telling you a story now. No,
I'm telling
Yeah, you tell him. Come over here. Yeah, Jody, go. Yeah, tell him who you are and tell him.
I'm Joel Patterson. Yesterday I went to Storyland.
Tell him what you saw. Quick, come here. Quick. Tell him what you saw. You don't tell him. Okay. Hello, Joan. Hello, Louis. Hello, Nathan and Jeffrey. This is Aunt Anita. I'm talking to you from the cottage on the Ottawa River. And yesterday, your grandmother, or maybe you don't call her grandmother, I don't know, no, Grammy. Okay, Grammy and I took my two boys, Joel and Josh, up to Storyland. We saw many things. I think you would really enjoy that. If you ever come this way, we'll get your mommy and your daddy, if he comes too, and we'll all go up and have a great time. Okay? Mommy, your Grammy really talks an awful lot about you two fellas. You must be two pretty nice boys. I'd love to see you, so someday tell Mommy and Daddy to be sure to bring you to see us. Okay? Bye-bye now. I'll let you talk to Debbie, your cousin.
Hi, Joan. Hi, Louis and boys. It's Debbie here, and I'm staying with Mum for a few days at the cottage with our two boys.
Don't bounce, Josh.
Wade and I are still living on the farm in Foresters Falls. He's playing a lot of ball this summer and a lot of hockey in the winter time. We hope we can get to see you guys sometime real soon if you're ever up this way.
Well, here I am back again. Anita sounds like she's teaching Bible class or something at school. I don't think she ever talked on tape much before. But anyway, you know, like when Jeffrey was talking, I guess you had a hard time to make him out. There was one thing he was talking about. I guess you probably figured that out, though. He's talking about his wings, water wings he wears in the water, and then his nanny and puppy, that's grandma and grampy, and there's a lot of things he says is very hard unless he slows down. So I'm pretty sure Nancy's going to have to get him some speech therapy, because he'll never make it at school, I don't think. Teacher will make him repeat and repeat and repeat. Well, this is July the 25th, and well, I was at 2 weeks, I guess, in the trailer at the lot there. And oh, was it ever gorgeous weekends, and the weather was so nice. It was really beautiful weather. So Jean and Bob and them went up to Wolf Lake for a week, They rented a cottage with Tommy and Linda and Nancy and Adam and who else? Well, that's about seven of them anyway. I don't think Janet and what do you call her? Wendy showed up, because Wendy had used up all her holidays, sick leave. And Janet, well, I guess Jean was telling me she spent her money on her cat, $200 to keep him alive, since she can't go on her holidays. But I guess $200 not much to go on holidays anyway. So I guess probably next week she's going to spend a week at Jean's, but it doesn't interfere with us because we're in the cottage, we're in the trailer. So it was really grand weather. So I stayed down for 2 weeks because Anita was going back and forth, But she wasn't that much at the cottage. But well, like Len left on Sunday, like in the weekend, and that was last weekend. Not this one, but the one before. And I went back with Anita on Sunday. Well, I was looking after Jean's house and that, and the cat, in and out, and back and forth. And I went into town to Cobham with Anita on, I guess it was that Sunday. And I stayed there overnight. And Monday night we packed up and came back. But anyway, Sunday night we walked all over the streets in Cobham and looked at all the big houses. And she told me where everybody lived. And it was really a nice walk. And then Monday we came back. We went shopping, and then we came back to the cottage. And I had supper with them. And with her anyways. And I didn't sleep with her. I went to sleep. But I slept in Jean's house that night. I didn't want to leave the house alone too much because they're even breaking in around there. So Anita stayed in the cottage and I slept in the house. And then the next day, what did we do the next day? Oh, Debbie came in with the boys, brought the boys back. Yeah, on Tuesday, Debbie brought the boys up to the cottage, and they stayed overnight, and we roasted marshmallows at night, and I stayed for supper with them. Oh, and we went, oh God, I can't even think of it. It doesn't matter to me today anyways. Well, you know that place where they go and see all the Toyland and that. I can't even think of it. Oh, it's not far from Anita's anyway, but you were there, Joan, before. And the place hasn't changed much. So, then we all went for ice cream. And the next day, Debbie came overnight after she worked till midnight, like from 4 to 12. And she came overnight and she went home the next day. And Anita went back to Cobden because she had to go shopping and different stuff. That was on Wednesday. And I stayed all myself up there looking after a few places. Thursday and Friday, Anita drove in. But just before she drove in, Kenny and Gloria, guess what? This was funny. I was reading. I was sitting outside of the trailer and reading. And you don't expect, anybody to come out. So I'm sitting there reading the journal. I just went up and got Jean's paper at the road in the mailbox. And I was sitting there, and this truck comes down and drives into Jean's yard. And these people get out. And I said, now what are they doing there? Some more people bothering Jean. Bob, they're not even there. So I hollered over, nobody home. And I was reading. Well, she says, you are. She says, this is Gloria, your sister. It was Kenny. Do you know I didn't even know Kenny? After, I haven't seen him since he was in the hospital here. He lost a lot of weight, like he's supposed to, or he's going to be in real trouble. So he really went down in weight, and Gloria lost too. I didn't even know them. So I got them to come over to the trailer, and we sat down, and I asked them if they wanted lunch. They said they just had lunch at McDonald's. They said they broke their diet, because they're broken the diet, because they have to. Like Kenny really has to, and Gloria, her blood pressure is really high. So anyway, they said they broke their diet by eating a hamburger at McDonald's. Well, I said, as long as you don't do it too often, because you know they salt their stuff, you can ask them without salt, yes. And then Anita says, as soon as I unpacked there, she says, well, come on up. She says, I think, for tea. Well, I said, well, you're going to have tea whether you like it or not. So Kenny asked if he could get into Jean's. I had the key. He wanted to make a collect call to this guy that was supposed to be at work or something. So Kenny took the afternoon off to take Gloria out. She had one of her bad headaches again. So partly it's not just the house and everything that's going on, but it is partly because they're just closed in a little place there. So she gets these bad migraines, but she's having them for a couple of years, So anyway, she went. I told her when she was up here, go and get your eyes tested, too, because we took her to get her ear phone checked, and they fixed it up, and now she can hear like anything. But Kenny says, for goodness sake, I'm ever glad you got that fixed. She was up here the last time there, and you talked to her from the kitchen, and she wouldn't even answer you because she couldn't hear. So anyway, she went to get her eyes checked, and now she's got bifocals, like you wear all day, even outside, I got them, but they're just for their TV and reading at the same time, I can't go out with them, but he told me I'd break my neck. I've tried those outside. So just for reading and looking up and not taking them off, So that's really handy. But anyway, he was looking in her eyes and looking, and after a while she says, is there something wrong, doctor? Yes, he says, your eye's bleeding on one side. He says, she says, notice that? He says, it's real red, and he was looking away inside. So they checked her for quite a while. Anyway, they found out that there's some pressure. There's something pressing on a nerve on her left side of her eyeball, like over her eyeball. And it's funny, but we didn't want to scare her, but that's the way Emma and a few other people started with cancer up there. And they had their lumps operated on, but they were on the outside. Apparently he thinks there's something inside, but they're really going to check it anyway. But I know if you have high blood pressure, it can cause a lot of pressure there and can eventually affect your eyes, So I hope it's nothing serious with Gloria anyway. But she's glad she went to get her eyes tested. She'd never leave those things. Like Jean there and Anita, they haven't been checked for years. And Jean there, not even a pap test. And I think she's scared to go. Things like that, you shouldn't leave that. You should get checkups, boy. I was just checked up from head to toe like an old car. I'm sure there's not one part that hasn't been checked. Just like an old car. But anyway, that's all you find out, you see. So I guess I'm all right now. But anyway, Gloria stayed they had a cup of tea, and we sat outside at the cottage, and it was ever gorgeous. Then it got a wind. It was funny there, but the winds come up real fast. Like almost blew us out of our chair, so we went inside, and finished our tea in there and talked. And they stayed for a couple of hours, and then Anita asked them for supper, but they said. I stayed with her that night for supper too with Norm, because I was the only one up there. So anyway, Gloria and them went back. Kenny said he wanted to see Bob. And Bob was at Wolf Lake. Well, I didn't finish telling you about that. But anyway, they went back, and Kenny said he's going to come back someday to see him again. But he's working now, you see, so I don't know if he's got any holidays. But apart from that, their boat looking very good. So they took off in their little truck, and away they went. So that was nice. And then Jean and them were at Wolf Lake that time. I was looking after the garden. And remember the garden I threw all the seeds in there? Well, did that ever grow? They never had a garden like that. Ever come up. You had to thin it out. That's the way to get a garden, is just throw it all in. You're sure to get something. And I even had some old kernels of corn mixed in with some seeds, and I threw them in, and the corn came up. So, and those squashies from New Guinea, did they ever come up? They're all over the place. So they're going to have a dandy garden. Those are my squashies. I said to Jean, you can have some squash. And there's tomatoes everywhere. And those seeds that get, those seeds are sent there? Well, those seeds those tomatoes are caught up to all our other patio tomatoes. And I had started them in here, and they were just little tiny things, about 4 inches high when I put them in Jean's garden. Did they ever grow? So, it's really nice 2 days I was there by myself. I didn't bring my stuff. I didn't eat in Jean's. Because I didn't want to mess up 3 places. Kind of, it's too hard to work. So I'd go back to the trailer and do my cooking and eat and clean up there, and then I'd go back to the house and let the cat in or out or whatever, and go down and sit at the shore, and oh gosh, the time really went by fast, besides trying to read. And then, oh, the funniest thing, and he didn't tell me, but you see, I thought, oh gee, those curtains are dirty in that trailer. I thought I'd wash them. So okay, I take all the curtains down, and it's hot, and I'm just sweating when I take those curtains down. So I take them over and throw, instead of doing my hand, I throw them in the washing machine. Jeez, that'll really clean them. So anyway, when the washing stopped, I went to take it out. What a surprise! All that was left was rags. I am telling you, just rags. So I hung them on the line anyway. I thought maybe with the outside room I might be able to get a pattern off of it. So I hung them outside, and there was nobody there, it was only me. But after I hung them all out, I stood there and I looked at them, and you start to laugh, all by myself, laughing my head off, and laughing. That was before Kenny ended up showing up. When Kenny came in the yard, and he says, "What are you doing round here?" He says, "Growing rags." All these rags, about half a line of rags. And when Anita saw them, she says, "Holy jumping." She says, "I meant to tell you that." She says, "I do them by hand all the time because they're rotten." I said, "Rotten?" I said, "Well, you need new ones." She said, "Guess how old they are?" And I said, "I can guess." She said, 20 years. Now, can you imagine that? I wouldn't even have bothered washing my hand. I'd thrown them out. So the ones I made out of some old curtains that was in the boathouse, they're all orange, and everything's orange in there now. In an hour and a half, I made curtains to go in that trailer by hand. Couldn't believe this. But I said to Anita, "I won't wash those either because they're rotten too." And then everybody ever laughed. So they're still hanging on the line when Jean and them came home on Sunday, and Jean says, "What, John, Nathan is up?" I said, "That was the trailer curtains." So everybody laughing their heads off. It was really funny. So they had a great time, There was only one thing, Like Jean would go down to the river, like the cottage is way up high on a little hill in the bushes, It's a great big cottage. Tommy rented, or let have, I guess, or rented from his friend that he works with. Wolf Lake, and oh, what a beautiful big place, Jean says. And all artifacts in it they got all over too, just sitting all over the place. Shouldn't do that, I guess. Someday they'll get them stolen. But anyway, Jean to go down every morning. None of them would get up. Jean says none of them wanted to get up to cook. Not even Wade that used to cook, Like, was good at cooking and everything. Liked the barbecue and everything. No cooking was done. She says, well, nobody wanted to cook. I think they all thought they were on holidays, and there was no cook. Everybody stayed in bed in the morning and slept. Even at 9:30 one morning, they were all sleeping, and Jean took Adam down because he was bugging her to go down to the beach. So you have to walk way down some stairs to go to the beach. So Jean took him down, and she happened to turn around, and she was just looking down. I don't know what she was doing. But Adam, she told him before not to go far, like he used to do that at the lot. But you can't trust kids, Like at the lot, you had to watch him, and I used to call him back, like, "Hey, Adam, that's far enough, Don't go too far." So Jean said she looked up, and he jumped, and he was gone. It was over his head. He was shouting, "Granny, Granny, Nanny," whatever he calls her. And old lady jumped, and she had my clothes and all. She went in, her shoes and all. And Jean, she doesn't even like going in the water. She hasn't been in this year with us. She had to go in. She says, if I hadn't got him, he'd have drowned it. She says, and nobody knew. They were all up there. Nobody paid attention to the kid. They figured he was safe for Jean, I guess. But I guess that's taking a lot for granted. It doesn't take long to drown. So I guess maybe that scared him now. Because he got his little head hurt too there one Sunday when I was there. They came, I was sitting in front of the trailer sitting out there, and Josh and Joel came up with Adam, and I'd left the shed open. Well, you can't be locking things all the time, and there was nobody up there who'd come down to watch them from anywhere. And the kids went in, and then little Joel there was waving a little bar, a steel bar. Holy Jesus! Adam came up behind him, and I should say jeepers, but behind him and smacked him right in the side of the head, and Adam went flying back, and he was in shock for a minute. And I thought he was knocked out, and I was the only one there, and I looked at him, and all I saw was blood pouring out, and he was staring at me on the ground, and the blood was just pouring out. And Nancy and them got up because they saw him fly, I guess. She was lying in her chair, and I just waved over, come come here, you know, I didn't holler or anything, just wave, come on. So she came, I couldn't leave him, I wanted to run in, I started pressing on it, but I wanted to go in and get some toweling and something out of the trailer. So she started to scream, come towards there, shout towards there. Adam, I said, no, Nancy, I said, don't shout. I said, it's only blood, it's only a little blood, I said, don't shout. Oh, I forgot Aunt Jet. She says, I'm sorry. So she bent down and I said, just press on it there with something. She piece her clothes. I said, I'm going in to get some Kleenex and stuff. So I come out with a roll of toilet paper, and Nancy bent down and started pressing on it. I said, keep that on it now. I said, I'm going. I went into the boathouse and got a whole bunch of ice there and wrapped it up in more Kleenex, and they put it on his head after she pressed on it. And meanwhile, Len and them were coming over. It just took me 1 second to do all that. So I never panicked. I don't anyway, something like that. But anyway, I went in and Len came over and well, he was coming over. And Nancy said, I guess we should get him out of the sun. Well, I said, Len's coming. I said, what's the movie? Oh, you get him out of the sun. And it was just 1 second. But anyway, I lifted him. I don't know where you get the umbrella. Must have been working, I guess, umbrella, because he's heavy. I carried him over and put him in the shade in the tree there. He was only there 1 second, and Len was over and carried him over to the truck. Oh, Nancy says before that, what are we going to do? And I said, take him to the hospital and get some stitches. And they got over, and Bob got in the truck. Oh, no, Bob. I said, I'll take him. He said, I'll take him. And Len says, well, get in the back with him and out of the car, because Bob wasn't feeling good himself, eh? Oh, no, Bob took him. And Nancy in the front to treat him there. Nancy not feeling well, and Bob not feeling well, and Adam all cut up there in the head. So they went to the hospital in New Renfrew there, well, the emergency clinic anyway. But they give them those stitches there, you know, the tape that you tape it together? But they did have to tape it together. So they're gone for about an hour and something. But they took him right away because blood was leaking all over. Poor Adam, you know, when he was lying on the ground, like the blood, like that came out, all went into his eye. And when Nancy saw that, that's why she started to shout, eh? It looked like his eye was gone. But I said, no, Nancy, it's all the blood gone into his eye. I said, I have to get some Kleenex in there. So anyway, he got stitches. And actually, mine's worse than his. I got one in the leg here that's open. That Monday we came home here. Well, you know, I put plates on the stove to warm up, eh? And I thought it was down lower, but it was up higher, eh? And my plate got hotter and hotter. I was cooking, eh? So meanwhile, this woman comes to the door, and Len's at the door, and I didn't know that. It was to take the census or something, you know, something, survey or something, you know, about who's in here and what, and who's working and all that. And here I'm shouting in the kitchen, will you help me? For goodness sakes, where did you go to? And he's talking to this woman, you know, I didn't know he was at the door. She can't hear anything with that fan on. See, the plate just cracked, and one piece of the plate flew right off the stove. So don't ever do that, put a plate on a hot stove. I never had it happen before, like flying away. And a big chunk flew and hit me right in the leg. There was blood everywhere. It was on the floor. And that was just a day after Adam. Blood was on the floor, and leaking all over. And I said, oh my goodness. I grabbed a roll of towel there, and I wrapped it around my leg, and I said, if you don't get over here and help me right away, I said, I'm going to bleed to death all over the floor here. So I want to tighten this with something. And all the time he was at that door, and he came back and he said, geez, this is ever embarrassing. He says, I was at the door talking to a lady. Well, I said, I didn't know. So I said, he says, what do you want? And he looked at me and he says, oh my goodness. So I said, well, get me an elastic band on that drawer so I can wrap it around my leg. At least something tight on it. So I left that on, and that was all right. It stopped bleeding. Applied some pressure. Between Adam and I think my cut's worse than his now. Mine's open on my leg and his is closed. So that tape stitches really do good work. So we certainly had fun. Anyway, and the next weekend he stubbed his toe. I'll try and say that. Stubbed his toe on the steps going down to the lot, like down to the beach. And he really hurt his toe there. And what else did he do? There was something he did. He hit his head in the boat too, or something. But every weekend he's starting to do something now to himself. But he's a great little fella now. But anyway, I guess they all, Gene, Bob and them, they all had lots of fun at Wolf Lake. Really enjoyed themselves, like nobody wanted to cook. It was really a nice cottage. Nancy went in to see Len at work yesterday, and Len says, what a day to come in to see me. She never went in there before, right? But she went up to see him, and holy jumping. The other guy was away, Len got all the work, you know. And he's just so tired out when he comes home. So tonight after supper there, he's going to take me out to a movie around the corner here. There's a good movie playing, I forget the name. But he's going to take me out to that. So, anyway, I'm here for this week, so we're going to go down on Friday. I don't know if I'm going to stay next week or not. I might. But he doesn't mind staying during the week because he just puts meat pies in and that. And anyway, he listens to games and he's tired when he comes home anyway. He's got so much work. So, and I usually sit in the chair there and watch TV or write. So Liz will be down with a lot. But he said he misses me for his supper though and breakfast. Oh, I don't know if I'm getting a cold from all that swimming last week, but I felt like I was getting something. But I really swam last week. I don't know if that river down there at the lot is Kesselford is polluted or not, but there's so much junk on the bottom. I don't know, logs and stones and stuff washing in. There was even a running shoe washed in. We were looking for the rest of the body, but there wasn't any. We thought there might have been one. You should see that place when a storm comes up. It looks just like the ocean. Great big waves, and that's why people, like one of the girls there at Fulford's, she took the boat out and they were standing up, And I don't know what they hit, but she flew out of the boat, actually. They broke the windshield. But I don't think she got hurt too much. Stunned her. But on another day, she come across there and her motor died on her. So the father had to go out in another boat and get her. So now she has to be back by a certain time because both times it was getting dark, She goes across the river to see friends. So I have a little boyfriend up there. But anyway, it's good to be back at a certain time because it only make people worry anyway. So they keep looking with binoculars across the river to see if she's coming, Oh, it's weird the things that go on down there. Different things, There's a real old lady there. She's about 90 nearly, and she drinks like a fish, So they used to walk her up and down the driveway to sober her up before they took her home. But now they don't care. Their only joy is drinking. I guess she has a boyfriend who comes to see her. But she drinks quite a bit. She's still pretty peppy, though. I don't know. I guess the drinking maybe keeps her going. So, I guess the first week of Anita's holidays, Norman was drinking a bit. Kind of ruined her holidays. She didn't come that week at all until a Friday. And I had stayed up purposely for that night because she was coming, But then I spent the time with Jean. And then that second week is when I went back with her, for that night. So, I guess we had a good time. And we went to shopping at the Pembroke Mall and the Renfrew Mall, and we went to eat at the Four Corners. Oh, you can get the best Western there. I never ate a Western like that. I took Len there to have one. Really good. So, what did we do here when we came back? Oh, we got dressed then, and we came back, and we go to eat, We went down to Rideau. We get dressed, take a bath, and go down to Rideau and eat. Have a ball on Sunday after we come back. We always leave about noon, from the lot to miss all the traffic. Because last weekend there was all kinds of rock concerts and different things going on. There was a big one near Eganville. Oh, Len and I took a drive up to Foy Mount. You wouldn't believe that. Some of them built old porches on the back, and some of the houses, some of the people trying to fix it up. A lot of Indians live up there too. But they fixed. They have old cars and old junk in the yards. One built an old shed. Must have got the boards in the woods, like in front of the house. And some of them are really trying to fix the house nice. You know where the CO lived, Joan? Well, those big houses are kept. There must have been richer people who bought those because they're really nice. But some of the houses, like the shingles are falling off, and the wreck hall was that burnt to the ground. There's nothing left. Before it hammered holes through the walls and wrecked it all up. And now somebody set a match to it, I guess, and burnt it down. And where the bus stop was to take the bus? Well, that's all broken in and broken and everything torn apart and junk outside. And you wouldn't believe this. And walking on those roads at the back there to go there, like the grass is growing so long, looks like bush. And, you wouldn't believe it. The place doesn't look the same at all. We took one drive through and got out. We didn't think much of it. But our place, we live down the house there, down the bottom of the hill. It's painted nice yellow. It's really nice. There's planted trees around, and it's kept really nice, whoever bought it. My God, they bought them for about 7,000, 8,000 each. There was some of those houses, all those little houses. Well, the apartments are not used. They're all gone to pot. I guess going to tear them down. And the hospital. There's a type of hippie that lives in there, or whatever. And he's even got a bed outside of the front. You wouldn't believe this. And that junk. That hospital. It's a shame. It doesn't look the same place at all. It's just a junkyard. Maybe that's what he sells is junk. I don't know. That's probably it. But it was a nice drive out there. And on the way out there, you could see lovely log houses, on top of hills. And, it's really changed going in. And Strickland, that big part they built to it, is that ever nice? We went in there to do some shopping. That's really nice. So we're going to ask Anita and Norm to go with us, but an hour after we got back, Jean and Bob, I drove in an hour after we left. That was on Saturday. And Anita, I guess, would have liked to have gone. She was talking about it all the time. But so wait for those people, you know, wait forever because they were going in to see Claude, and then Norm helps give Claude a batch, you know. Claude's a lot better, though. But Anita still keeps talking about that little paper there that Claude has to sign. See, until he signs that little paper, the cottage is not Norm's. Not really. So they're really worried about that, so I don't know what's going to happen there. But enough of that, anyway. So we sat, was it Sunday night? I said, well, Anita and Norman's going for a walk, and I said, okay, everybody come on over. I said, I'm going to make I kept after Anita, I thought you were going to make a fire at the front there. The river looks so nice, eh? Let's come on over, I'm going to make a fire in the big barbecue there at the lot. So I made a big campfire there in the fireplace, and we sat the chairs all around, and we talked, and we roasted marshmallows, and then I went and later on I made some coffee, we had cookies, and it was ever nice sitting there and everybody talking. It was a real nice night. A little bit damp though, not as nice as the Thursday night before. I sat out, made a fire by myself and sat out there. There was nobody down, I was all alone. And I made a fire and it was real warm out in a warm breeze, and Ernie the cat, Jean's cat there, Ernie, well, he used to be Granny's and used to be Wendy's before that, came down and sat with me. He followed me everywhere because he was lonesome, eh? So I don't know what Jean's going to do with him because he's got those, you know those balls, little fur balls yours gets? Well, these are big knots. Oh, these are as big as a plum all over his back. So they hurt, you know. Like, I guess Jean's going to give him a tranquilizer and they're going to try to shave that off. And then he's got the one eye, like he's blind one eye, cornea or something. I don't know what it is. But I think it's time old Ernie went to sleep because he's pretty old. So I don't know what they're going to do with him. So I'm going to let this tape run out because on the other side I'm going to start talking about Ron. Because Ron and Betty are back now. Ron and Betty, I guess they must be nearly back because they must be on their way to Korea now and all those places. What's the thing for that? Oh, I don't know where it is. Anyway, it was on something here. I don't know where it is. Oh, here. Probably run out before I say it. But they're leaving, well, they're going to Rongyu. Oh no, this is where he went. That's not where they're going. That's where Ron went on his trip. He went to Krongku or something, Seoul, and Panmunjom, I can't say it right. That's all Korea edition, like, you know. I have to read you some of that. No, that's not the one. I'll have to tell you on the other tape. I don't know, he's got it somewhere here. What did you do with it, Ron? Well, anyway, I'll finish talking to you on this tape. So I guess Jeffrey and Nathan will get a kick listening to the boys talking. He might have a hard time to make Adam out, but he sure enjoyed it. That was his first time talking on the tape. And after he had talked, we had to play it 4 times for him while his head was buried right in the loudspeaker, listening to himself. He thought that was the greatest thing, and self-talking on there. He really thought that was good. So, and the only one I didn't get to talk on, like, I would have got Gloria to talk on it. I never thought of it like when they were up that day. It's nice to get everybody to say a word on it, but then there'll be other times because I'm going to make some more tapes. Still looking for that little piece. Oh my goodness. You know when you're looking for something you don't find it, eh? I don't know where it went to. Maybe it's in this envelope here. So I bet you that garden that your garden is really growing, eh? I hope it is anyways. Now I'm starting to sound like Anita. Gosh. Sound like I'm preaching something. Oh, I don't know where it is. But anyway, this is Ron's last letter. It says, well, we finally reached the point where we write the last note from Papua New Guinea. As a matter of fact, the Prime Minister is promoting a name change for the place to be announced on the 10th of the year of independence, September 16th. Why they want to go to tremendous expense that involves when over half their people are still illiterate and hungry half the time is beyond me. But such is life in the third world country. I shouldn't say world country. These guys are still reliant on the 23rd and 24th millions of the Aussies give them each year to keep them afloat. 23 and 24 million, I mean. But Australians have told them the gravy train is at the end of the line. So now they're casting around in Japan, China, and other such spots for handouts. He says, incidentally, Georgette, I can't get your salt and pepper shakers you wanted. I wanted those for Debbie. The shop in Gordon keeps saying he will get them, and again, but never does. I can't find them in any other shop. By the time you get this, I will probably have contacted you by phone or telex with the sad tales. I'm going to try and do that this week. I'll see if Snowy, that's nationally rich, can find out your number in Ottawa for me. Otherwise, I'll telex via Telerelli or something. I got notification of my gratuity this week, and it looks to me like they messed it up in my favor. I'll know next week when it comes time to pick up the pay. They sure get marvelous fouled up in their books, their bookwork here. They can sure. One guy I know was still left on the payroll after his final payoff. Fortunately, he was still in town and able to set them straight, or they would have probably have paid it in to an unused account forever. That's true. That's about it, guys. Betty says that includes this additional front page showing them having captured an expat that was fencing the stolen property. Maybe they can seriously look at cleaning it up around here now. The crime. See you guys before you know it. See? We always figured that. It was an expat mixed in this. All this getting the nationals to steal and a lot. Most of it is. We figured that. It had to be. You know, they just thought they'd get in after they went independent, the expats, with the crooked ones, and do that. But anyway, it's not very good, eh? So now they'll probably want to get rid of the rest of them. So I wouldn't blame them either. So, on his new page here, he has Homeward Bound Edition, Drum Beats from Papua New Guinea. He's got a man and a lady and the maid behind with her suitcase and her billing bag. And the guy says to his wife, I dare say you have forgotten how to do your housework, dear, but we are not taking her along. And he's waving his eyes to the maid. And she's pointing her finger at the maid behind, and the maid's there. She's going too, I guess, but I don't think she'll get there, because he only has 2 tickets. A lot of them have forgotten how to do housework, I'll tell you, because they never do. A lot of time lapsed since I last talked on these tapes, and a lot happened. Last Friday, July the 18th, Bob passed away suddenly. We weren't down yet, I guess. Yes, we were. Anita and I were sitting at the river at the front of the fireplace. And Mrs. Cobus came over and ran over because Jean and them had gone to Smith Falls to Mary's for a shower for Linda. Because Linda's expecting a couple weeks, eh? Well, now it's next week. Well, it's probably this week. It's 26th, they brought up her date, eh? But anyway, they all went up there. The whole family was up there. Mary, everybody. The whole family was up there. But anyway, Bob was standing in the kitchen at the cupboard talking to everybody in the kitchen, and Mary was making some tea or whatever it was. He was leaning against the cupboard like he does here, you know, often, like he did here. And he fell and he hit his arm on the cupboard, and then he landed on the floor, I guess, and hit his head. And he didn't live any more than 3 minutes before he was gone. Very sudden. See this, but the whole family was there. Like it was, isn't that something, eh? Like they didn't have to go and get anybody. Everybody was there. Isn't it? It's really something, you know. But anyways, but the only one that was coming was Barry. He was just pulling in the yard, and the ambulance pulls out. And Barry says, "Oh my goodness," to himself. This came to his mind. It's either Bob or Linda. Linda's baby. But Linda, apparently, when he fell, started to scream and wave her arms and everything. Oh no, she kept saying all that stuff because she wanted him to see the baby. Isn't that sad, eh? Oh, that hurt her so much. But she's very well, and I hope everything goes well, because she had a bit of showing at the funeral parlor the other night. We thought she'd have to take her to the hospital from there. Oh, it's been the saddest thing. You wouldn't believe it. Because he died that Friday. Like I said to Anita at the lot, like after Mrs. Cobus came and told us that he was in the hospital, eh? They take him to the hospital, but then they never told her that he was dead either. But I said to Anita, he's not coming out of that hospital. And Norm says, oh yes, you will. You know, but I knew he wouldn't get out. But anyway, it's that bronchitis he had all those years, eh? And it went down, it's that muscle that leads to it, eh? From all that coughing. You wouldn't believe all the coughing that man did. Oh, I couldn't sleep in there anymore. Like, that's why we came in the trailer. But he would, at night there, he was just coughing. Then he'd go in the night, like that. Oh, it was terrible. Just go on all the time. He lost so much weight, eh? But the doctor kept telling me he had to lose a lot of weight, and then he was taking so many pills. But I thought he had lost enough weight, probably make him weak, But you can't lose your stomach. If you have a big stomach all your life, you can't lose it like that. You have to do exercise. And he couldn't do that. He couldn't do anything anymore. He'd stop because he used to work in the garden. This is the best summer I ever spent with him, because we used to watch the sunset, and then I'd do a little bit in the garden with him, But he'd stop, after a few hoes, only something. His potatoes especially didn't last very long, like when he did something. And he knew he couldn't do anything anymore. He knew his wood was in the bush, but he didn't want anybody else to do it, because he couldn't do it. All these things, So now everybody's going to go get the wood out of the bush and all this stuff, but it sure went fast. Jean said it was so sudden. What a shock to them all, Just falling like that. Good for him, good for Bob. But I've watched him here. I said to myself, that man, not well, But he'd always laugh and smile and joke. We'd just wait to get down here to sit with him and talk, because he'd tell you so many stories, It was really sad. I don't know, Wendy took it awful hard. See, I was in a trailer here, and then about, must have been 8 in the morning or something. See, I saw them come home Friday night, but I didn't go over. But I saw them come home. I said, they were on their pajamas on the sidewalk out there, and I was sure I saw the form of a man. But they said there was no man on the car. But anyway, Wendy apparently at the time was in the shed trying to get the key, but I had the key, But then she had another key, so they got in, and I said something's wrong. So apparently they went to bed, because Jean went in there and she went right into Bob's room. Really cried her head off, So they all went in the bedroom, they said, and they all talked about Bob for about 10 minutes, I guess. They all talked about Bob, and they thought, that he was very sick and he couldn't go on like that. But all his life, like, he had this bronchitis, and he was telling me at the funeral parlor that even when he was a little fella, Mrs. Boyce, like that's the grandmother, that's his Bob's mother, would have him on his knee rocking him, and with mustard plasters on him. Never took him to the doctor, and she called it the croup. And it was bronchitis, So, those days, all people were like that. Because even Uncle Phil and Grandpa and them, they never went to doctors till they were all dead. Well, they were nearly dead anyway. So, it was quite a shock here, I think all his life, because you must remember him, Joan, when he was at St. Rose there. Remember, it's me that started him on that Buckley's cough syrup. But the doctor said it was all right to take it. But he'd drink that. He just drank that right out of the bottle. I'm sure that must have burned something out. But he'd drink that. I can remember going to the cupboard and just gobbling it down and cough and cough and cough. So he had that a long time, He lived since he was a kid, and sometimes it'd be worse, But then apparently when he stopped working here, it just got worse, Coming down to the river. But then it was just as damp up in St. Rose. You remember how damp it was there from the river, It was really damp. And the dew on the grass there, wasn't any drier than here, because all Ontario is damp, because I find rheumatism is hard here too. So that was really sad. Then, I'll tell you about Anita. She came over and she started to cry outside the door here, and she says, Georgette and Len, she says, Bob died last night, she was telling us, and I said, she says, come on over and help, because they can't do it anything, all of them, like the girls, nothing. So I said, I'll be ready in a few minutes. So I said, I'll get over. I knew before Daddy was probably gone myself. But anyway, I went over, and even Anita, she couldn't. She put the darn sausages on high. I cooked the whole breakfast. I cooked all their breakfast and sat them down and fed them all. And made Jean eat some too, because she wouldn't eat. And then I cooked everybody's breakfast, even Anita's and everybody else. And then at noon, we ordered stuff. Anita and I went to town and ordered a platter of meat, and then we went to Claude's, called the funeral parlor for flowers, and Linda at the other end. I kept her going good because she arranged for all the coffin and all that stuff, and the time at the funeral parlor and that. But anyway, we came back with a whole tray of meat and all kinds of stuff. So we fed everybody down at the cottage to get Jean out of the house. So that was something anyway. And then at night, they ate in their own house, and we came to eat here like everybody ate over there. They were fine. They could cook themselves something. And then, but the next morning, Sunday morning, see, this went on all weekend, They had them at the funeral parlor, but they had to do an autopsy. So, and his clothes wasn't there, so he didn't get buried actually till Tuesday at 10 o'clock, but I'll tell you about that after. But anyway, Sunday morning it was, eh? Yeah, Sunday morning, the power was off because they were putting poles in down not far from here. Normally we were working on that. They were using helicopters to put the poles in. It was really something. We went to see that one day. Bob took us for a drive, eh? Just over a week ago. We went to see that with him. But we didn't get there because we got kind of lost. We ended up somewhere else. But anyway, that Sunday morning now the power was off, so they asked me if I'd cook cocos, like Adam calls things cocos, eh? For Adam, in the morning real early, because the power went off at 8, like till noon, and then in the afternoon till 5. But anyway, I said, okay, send him over, and I'll cook his cocos and whatever. So anyway, I see Wendy and Adam trotting over about 8. See, they got up, the power just went off. So I said, he asked about what about everybody else? She says, well, there was no power. So I said, okay, I'll go over. I went over. Well, she brought over a kettle first to make tea and coffee, so I made all that stuff, put that on. Then I went over and got their eggs and bacon, because we had bought all that stuff from the day before, because they didn't have any. So I had to go over there and get it to make it here. So I cooked all their breakfast, sent it over in the pan, and their tea and coffee. So everybody ate. And this power went on like that all weekend, off and on. So you can imagine, it kept coming over to make tea. And we even had the guy next door here, Preen's, Mike Preen. They were asking for us. Didn't you have 2 kids once? They were wondering where they went to. So we were telling them where you were and all that. So Mike's mother, Lillian, there, she brought over the coffee pot. And we put the coffee on here, because they had just had a gas barbecue outside to cook on. And it takes a long time. Like, they want to cook the rest of the food, eh? So yeah, we were boiling tea for everybody, and boiling water for tea and coffee, and everybody was running from cottage to cottage around here. Something like that really brings people together. So it's kind of good, like to see how you get along with people. It's like an exercise. But anyway, poor Bob though, it was so sad to watch him. His clothes getting all baggy on him, and that coughing bit. He spit up so much, I don't know. It made us feel so bad for him, but there was nothing you could do. It was not even the doctor could do anything for him. He was just giving him those pills. He was taking antibiotics because he got pneumonia. Went back on one side of his lungs because he went over on the river with, I don't know if that caused it, but it must have. He went over on the river boat ride with Mike Preen when he was camping here. So he got a bit of pneumonia on one side. He was treating him for that, the doctor, and I guess that was the end of him then. They kept going every week, and I knew if he was going every week he was getting worse, eh? Because before that it had gotten a little bit better, and he was going only every month, or 3 weeks. But anyway, Sunday afternoon at noon, we left. We went back to Ottawa because there was lots to do, eh? I had to prepare a room too, because Anita Norm was coming to stay like Monday night. And Debbie. Only Debbie didn't stay because she came back with Wade the day before. And Anita didn't stay, and Norm stayed over with us Monday night. So I got them all up in the morning, made breakfast, and we all got dressed, and then took the car over first because we just walked just around the corner. The funeral parlors are just around the corner, a great big building with white pillars. It's on Kent Street. So anyway, we walked there. But I went Saturday afternoon, by myself. There was just a family in there. I thought I'd get over with before I went with Lenny. But I went over to the coffin and I started to cry. And Jean came over and I said, oh, Jean. I said, oh, Bob. And Jean says, I know. She came over with her arm around me. And then she can touch him if you want. So I touched his hand and I said, oh, he's cold. What did they drain the blood out of you? I guess you're cold. But like he's swelling, his stomach went down, eh? And he was so peaceful. I never seen Bob so quiet. I expect him to sit up and cough. Because that's all you ever heard him doing, even at night. But, I don't know, he knew, because I said to him about 2 weeks ago at the table, the doctor told him, because I said to him, Bob, you have to get over this before winter. I said, or you're going to have a hard time all winter long. And he looked at me like this, and he went, shook his head. Then I knew. And then when I left 2 weeks ago, I had to go home, on a Sunday, the long weekend, last weekend, I said, I'll see you next week, next weekend, because I'm staying the week in Ottawa. Land this week. And he grabbed me and gave me a kiss right in the mouth. I knew it. I just got the weirdest feeling. And then Jean said to him, we were in a truck one day after his test, and that. He had another x-ray. And Jean says, I don't think she knew him quite yet. She knew he would go sometime, and never like that. she couldn't last like that, eh? But she said to him, "How's your blood pressure, Bob?" "Fine, fine," he says. "How's your I guess take water pills too, everything like that, you know, and then his lung, eh, with a bit of pneumonia in it." "Oh, fine, fine," he says, "everything's fine." I said to myself, Jean looked at me and I looked at Jean. He came out with it too fast, eh? Could have told us a different way, you know, but he came out too fast. We knew something made him wrong. So it was a pretty hectic weekend here. It was very sad. Really, you know, you just look at each other and then we cry, you know. So it's a good thing I didn't go over that night and I saw them in their pajamas because it was bad enough. They're crying enough, eh? So I went over the next morning and Jean grabbed me and she says, "Oh, Georgette," she says, "it was so sudden." You know, and something like that is sorry for the person that dies, eh? It's the people that's left behind. So, and he's not the only one. There's going to be a few more. Linton, Grand's brother there, is going to go soon. He said he always had a chase after Bob because Bob was so fast. And then this last month that he knew Bob, like even last winter, he said that Bob had a chase after him, like around, because he couldn't keep up to Linton. And Gran, she looks just terrible. I sat near her and she says, I said, "Gran, how's everything, you know?" And she's up at Orpheus and that, eh? And she says, "Oh, Georgette," she says, "nothing's worthwhile living for." She says, "There's nothing in this world at all." I said, "Gran," I said, "well, what can you say, eh? That's what she feels." And she never did much of her life after she quit teaching and all that. And then she says, "Oh, I thought that I would go before Bob." See, she's losing all her boys. There's only Barry left, and they all died in their 40s, 50s, like Walter and Bob, 58. And Mr. Boyce, like the father, was 63. And then the old grandmother, I think, oh my goodness, I think she was only 49. So they're really going young, those people. But Barry doesn't look good either. There's a lot of them going to go. And you know that Frank Toll there? Frank Dalton? Holy, Frank and Ernie, you hear him talking, they call Ernie the cat after Ernie. Well, he's as white as this seat here, almost. You know, he just wobbles, so it can't be good for him either. A lot of people not feeling good. And Janet's better start looking after herself. She's just skin and bones. I don't know if because she's not eating or what. Bones stick right out of her. It's sad, you know, to see these people. I don't know. I think there's going to be lots of funerals this winter. But, and Norman took it awful hard, because every time, you know, he wasn't feeling good, you know, from his drinking. Like, Bob would go down and talk to him, and get him out of it, you know. And now he hasn't got Bob, eh? I don't know who's going to sit with him and talk like that. Somebody else had to take over, I guess. Because we were watching him on either night, because he went down to the wharf and stood right on the edge of the waves, eh? And then we caught him, we went back and uncovered his skidoo, eh? The one he had traded for Wade's boat. He had traded the boat to Wade to get the skidoo so he could school Bob this winter. And we knew Bob would never skidoo again. Bob would never do anything again, he was too weak. But we went back and he covered skidoo real fast, because he was going to skidoo with Bob. So, all these things about him, so we're just wondering, you know. And you know, when we went to Ottawa, eh? He had a bottle with him in the bag. So he's on the yard stuff too, you know, mixing that with the beer, so. I'm afraid there's going to be a few more funerals, won't be long. But this has been so hard because, you know, it's not even Bob, you know, like, not the same place because I get up here at the trailer at 7:30 and I'd look over and Bob would come out to go and get the paper up the hill. And he'd say, "Good morning, Georgette, nice day." And he'd come down with the newspaper and he'd stop at the last post and I'd say, "Bob," I said, "read me all the rotten news on the front page." And he'd say, "Rotten all right, Georgette," and he'd read me some of the awful things on it. And then he'd go by. Most times he'd bring the papers the day before to me because I don't like reading it. The dye's too fresh, eh? He'd bring me over the old paper. So, and then before that, like before he'd go up to the mailbox, he'd walk around the car, the truck, and check things. I could still see him walking around. But you know what I did, eh? I came back here. I'm alone, eh? Here, down here. I came back to look after the place and the cat and that. Because they're all up at Linda's, eh? I guess the baby's coming soon. But anyway, I came back and they drove me, like Anita and Norm and Wade and Debbie. And Len drove behind us and he cut off on Metcalf Street and I went to Ottawa. But we came down this way. And I came down and I walked around. They let me out the car here and I walked around and I went over, let Ernie out. And then the lady, Lillian, gave me the key for the house. And I went in, it was so stuffy, so I opened all the windows. And I cleared away the dishes on the cupboard and straightened things out. And then at night I went back in, swept all the house with the sweeper, and I went in and I said, I guess there's only me and you here, Bob. I don't know if he's a ghost or what now, but if he is, I said, well, I guess it wouldn't bother me much. But I swept all up the house, and I thought, oh, geez, I'm tired. I hadn't slept over for 3 days and nights hardly, because I've been helping and rushing and all that. So I put a movie on, light on the couch. Now, this is with all my clothes on. I fell asleep. And I sort of, in a daze, like, woke up, the news was on. Night news. I just got up and clicked the TV off and laid back down, stayed there all night in the couch, in there. In the house. So I slept there last night, too. But I'm all by myself down here, but that doesn't bother me. So I've been straightening out her house and all that stuff, so. People come over, like, and ask me about it, you know. But, oh, I'm telling you, I never seen such a crowd as Sunday night at the funeral parlour. No, Monday night. Holy jumpins. That was a big crowd. See, he died Friday night, and then he wasn't buried till Tuesday morning. And then the funeral procession that started with hearse, like, you know, it was a huge, oh, I've never seen anything so huge. So, when we got to Montreal, yes. It says you veer off to the left to go down there to Quebec. Well, Danny, we were behind Danny Francard. He was one of the pallbearers, and he was trying to get down there fast, eh? So he veered to the right, and we followed him. So we took the old shortcut along we got away from the funeral procession and took the shortcut along the old Gatineau Road there. And we got there before everybody, before the funeral procession, everything. We got to the grounds. Like, they buried in that church near Eigens, remember on the hill? They're all buried there. See, Walter's on one side, and Audrey DeBoer, Bill's wife's on the other side, the one that died of a heart attack. So everybody's buried around there, like all the people we knew, like from around there. So it was really sad. And Jean, they had to hold her up, like when they took her over to the coffin, like they sat on top, like, but nobody watched it going down, you know. They left. They took the roses off the coffin, some of the roses, brought them home to crystallize them, eh? So, oh, little things like that, you know. But you know, at the house here, when I walked in, now there's this truck in the yard that he likes so much, what? And I went in the house, there's his hat hanging near the stove, and the bag of clothes is still in the bedroom, you know. With all his clothes, they took him home from the hospital. And he had wore a white t-shirt on his clothes, so they had to cut that off with scissors right down the center, so they could get it off from me. And his shoes are sitting there, and he just bought a new pair of running shoes. Best running shoes I think he ever bought. Brand new, and they're sitting there. And all his clothes is around. So Jean, when she comes back, there's either today or tomorrow or next day. So everything is going to start all over again. I mean, she sees all these things. You have to go through his clothes and all that stuff. So it's very sad, eh? So Jean, she says, oh, Mom, you're going to sell the house now and move in with one of us, eh, Linda? No way, she says, I'm staying down there. So I guess she's going to learn to drive at last. Yes, she'll have to, that's all. She'll just have to learn. So there's all kinds of people that are teaching in all the yards here. My goodness, it's not hard to, you know, to learn around here. So Billy took him to one of Wendy's dogs for keeps. It's a pure lab, eh? Oh, does he ever train it? Goes up the road there, sit and walk, you know, and it does everything. He just has it about 5 days, and he has it trained nearly. It's a real hunting dog, purebred. Real nice dog. But Ernie there, Ernie drove me crazy this morning at 5 o'clock. Oh, that cat. He loses his hairs all over it. He's half blind, and, you know, he catches mice all right, but he's full of those big lumps in his fur. Nobody takes it off. But then this morning I let him out at 5, because he drive me crazy, because I could hear him even in the night, thump, 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 running up the stairs, you know. Because the first night I sort of woke up a bit and I hear this thumping, and I thought, oh, it's Ernie. But anyway, this morning I haven't seen him since. He usually sticks real close to me and follows me all over. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he'll show up tonight, maybe he won't. But last night, the weirdest thing happened in that house. I turned the lights down low, you know, all those, you know, she has those chandeliers. They weren't that low, they were down low. I left them on, to have something in the house. There's a lot of break-ins around, too. So I left them on, and holy jeepers, I woke up in about 2 or 3 in the morning. I looked up, the lights went out. They just went out by themselves. I must ask Jean for lights to go out by themselves. I must ask Anita first. I thought, somebody's turned the lights off on me. So I got up, went to the bathroom, turned the light back on. and down low. That was give me the weirdest feeling. But I got to find out about those lights, because that doesn't happen by itself. It's ever weird. But it didn't scare me or anything, but I thought, boy, that's funny. But anyway, all that's over now, and the other shock of her Jean coming home, I guess. To poor Linda, she went to Bob to see second grandchild so bad. So Linda says she's going to give herself just so many months rest, and she's having another one right away because she's getting older. She wants that other baby. So I guess that's the way to do it, I suppose. Because you know what? All the time she was pregnant, she had no migraines. All her migraines were gone. Just disappeared. But I remember I had quite a few before Michael. When Michael was born, and I never had any more. Well, I had a few after. But I used to have quite a bit, I think, before. Bad migraines. But after I didn't. Just once in a while, and now it's just a headache I get, and I get rid of it, It goes in no time. So the garden there, the tomatoes are all ripening, and I'm eating so many tomatoes, and you know me, I get all these little ulcers from them. And I don't only eat them for dinner and supper, I eat these tomatoes for breakfast. Oh, and they all taste different, like the ones in Jean's garden. And you know those hybrids there? Oh, they're just about ready to get red, and they're huge. The one Lewis gave me the seeds there. You should see the size of those. Holy jumpins, they're about 2 times the size of Jean's there. What can I say they look like? Holy jumpins, the size of a cup. Are they ever big? They're really come up good. And then Amelia's got the pear-shaped ones red that Claude gave her. Are those ever nice? So all the things in the garden, like I've eaten butter beans out of there, and beets, and I helped a lot with the garden, but then they got too much stuff there anyway. All sorts of stuff. But maybe Jean after this is going to put a pipe that leads from the river there, and they can water the garden. You have to carry this bloody water, or either you can get it from the rain, in the barrels, or you have to carry it from the river. And that's hard on a person's arms and back. Like I watered Jean's cucumbers I got this morning, and Anita's, and boy, it's very hard. But anyway, here I was going to tell you, see, I was supposed to be talking about Betty, and I'm talking about Bob, you know. They all took it hard, you know, they looked terrible, Nancy too. Oh my goodness, she was sitting, was it Saturday? Oh, Sunday morning early. She was sitting in the living room, and Adam, you know, did you ever miss his Poppy? Because you hear him talking before. Poppy, that's his grandfather, Bob. He says, Nancy had her head down, her mouth open, she was sort of dozing, and Adam says, Nancy! He said, don't do that. You look just like Poppy. Oh my goodness, kids out about it's babes, eh? Because Adam, like, he always he used to say, wake up, Poppy. So Bob would fall asleep. He'd be talking to him, fall asleep like that. Just like that, and you're talking to yourself. One day he was standing at the cupboards, and he was talking to Jean and I, and Jean was facing him. He fell sound asleep standing at the cupboard. He could fell and broke his neck. And Jean says, hey, Bob. First she winks at me, looking. And she says, hey, Bob, wake up, wake up. So in the truck, like Anita, they had their big... I didn't know that they had all those fears, them and the girls and everything. They had the fears he was going to kill us all in the truck. Because I was in the truck a lot with them, eh? And his eyelids would close, and Jean would poke, wake up, Bob. Sometimes all the way from Ottawa when I was with them. And then we drive to Renfrew and different places. I guess he could have had his heart attack anywhere there. Because he had a massive, eh? But Jean says, they said there he didn't suffer. It was so quick. Like, you know, he didn't suffer from it. So it was a good way for him, I guess. But so many things that he talked about what he wanted done. Take the old board off of the wagon, build a patio. But he couldn't do any of those things. People wanted to start, but he didn't want him to do it till he got better. But I guess just about 2 weeks ago, his last test, and that the doctor told him it's finished. Because, you know, he went in there around Christmas, and the doctor looked at him and says, aren't you dead yet, Bob? But I don't think he knew he was that bad yet, the doctor. Because he wouldn't say a thing like that. I doubt it. But anyway, that's Bob's gone. Michael's going to feel bad. We didn't phone or anything, because, you know. But flowers, he had... must be $1,000 in flowers. You know, I was just thinking after, wouldn't that be nice if that would have made in a check and given to Jean? You know, all those bloody flowers. Like Andy even sent floral spray from Toronto, eh? But it's a waste, like, you know. Unless we got together, like, you know, and we got a great big one. Like I went with the Jubies and with Claude and Debbie, and then I went in on it, then and I. Because going yourselves, it's quite expensive when you go by yourself, and they really tax you for a small one. Really, it's quite a bit. It's not the money part, but it's just what they get away with, you know. It's florists, so it was cheaper for everybody going all together, and all with a florist spray. It was orange, and all different things in it, lilies, and it was just gorgeous. He was just surrounded by all these flowers. Oh, talk about flowers. And you know what? I met two old aunts there. Aunt, what's her name? Oh, jeepers, I can't even think of it. But it was her daughters, Cecile and Jean Marie. Oh, I forget her. She lives in Ottawa. They're going to come and get me to see Auntie Bert, because Auntie Bert's not too good. She won't be around too long either. Daddy's sister. So these two sisters, Aunt Alice's daughters, Cecile and Jean Marie. I met them for the first time for years and years and years and years, and I was small. And they met nearly all the family, because they said, oh, what a way to meet all the family, you know, because they came up and Andy wasn't there. Though, and Gerald didn't come that night because the little fella, he's very hyperactive, Dean. So, you know, they feel bad with him, but we all know he's like that. He doesn't bother us. A little bit active, Very hyper. But anyway, we met a lot of people. Oh, I'd see people staring at me, you know, I hadn't seen for years, like even from down Templeton. They'd be staring at me and wondering who the lady is. And then after they found out, you know, a lot of people. Oh, there goes a truck, you know. I'm in the trailer, you know, that's why you hear a truck like that. So, there's really a lot of people there. Oh, I can't remember them all. Oh, Gilbert and Marie-Ange from the Island was there. Oh, Joan, I think he's going to go too. Marie-Ange says he's been very, very sick and he's not good. It looks bad. I don't know what he's got. Well, to tell you the truth, when I was looking at him, he looks like an AIDS victim, you know. Oh, awful, skinny and terrible. So, and Marie-Ange was saying that's Gilbert's wife, mother isn't well either. She's got a pacemaker in, and Auntie Delia got over her. Oh, she's just like a strong old horse. Marie-Ange says, Gilbert says, she's there and she had her breasts off and she's jumping around and going to bingos and holy jumping. That woman's strong. I don't know. I think maybe she's going to outlive everybody. But not like Mrs. Boyce. I know she failed a lot. She'll probably go in her sleep. Nice conversation, telling them about these people who are going to die. But I guess we're all going to go sometime, but when you look at some, I think it's going to be sooner. But anyways, now what have I got to do next here? See, I was supposed to be talking about Betty and Ron and that. They're gone. They're in Winnipeg now. They're back in their house. They moved in, And so there's so much stuff to tell you about them that I started to talk about all this. Because I met Lawrence that I hadn't met since before I went to Papua New Guinea. And the people, they said, my goodness, you look good. What's all this camping outside, I guess. But anyway, I met all kinds of people. It was really interesting. So how did your summer go? We never got anywhere. We might take a holiday this winter though, to go to a warm place and relax. Something like that. But then I was going to read you about all Ron's things, but I think I'm going to have to end up making you another tape. Or something, because... But here's one here. I can read you this one here. Greetings from paradise, or should I say, pair of dice. Life down here can sometimes be a bit of a gamble. Well, you always think the bad ones happen to the other guy, and we thought we might get out of here with a half dozen minor incidents, but such as was not to be. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, around 9:30 in the evening, Betty and I are sitting in the living room, gabbing away. No TV here, so you actually talk to other members of the family for entertainment. She's facing the door, and suddenly she gets this surprised and puzzled look and says, there's somebody at the door. Of course, me being well advanced into senility by now, it didn't register that our stalag first gate, was closed and nobody should have been in the yard. So I gets up and heads for the door, that's Ron, to see what these guys want. Car trouble, maybe. I don't know where I thought I was. Anyway, I get to this wooden screen door and there's 5 dudes on my porch with machetes and large rocks. One of them says, open the door, and reaches for the handle, which prompted me to reply, somewhat unkindly, and grab the door lever from the inside, so he couldn't turn it. His comrades proceeded to try to stab me through the door. with bush knives while I hung on and yelled for number one son to fetch his Chinese fighting sticks or whatever they were. While I denounced the chaps on the other side of the door in loud tones reflecting my belief in their canine ancestry, Betty, meanwhile, having better presence of mind than I, smelled a rat right off and headed for the bedroom. By the time she heard me throwing the kahir, or something they have in the house, against the screen, and cursing the mob on the front steps, she was already on the bedroom phone to call the police. Alas, the blighters had cut the telephone wire. Not to be daunted by a minor problem like not being able to call for help, she cast about and located a brass handbell I had brought her while in France. She cut loose with that at such a steady pace, even I took a note of it in my somewhat busy frame of mind. So, by this time, they had stabbed enough holes in the screen trying to get at me that one of them felt bold enough to throw a large rock through. Mistake on his part. Yours truly could not reach a weapon without leaving the door. I grabbed the rock off the floor and bounced it off one of them on the other side with sufficient force for the rock to break, leaving one piece on the porch while the other whizzed off into the yard somewhere. About this time, number one son had heard the uproar, even in sunny Walkman land, and he came skidding around the hall corner with these two clubs on a chain. The odds now being only 5 of them to 2 of us, they decided to push off. By this time I was so berserk that I decided on pursuit. Daft, I tell you, daft. However, when Colin put the lights on, or rather tried to, no yard lights, they had taken out the bulbs. Clever sods. Anyway, they made their escape. They made their escape through 2 holes cut in the back fence. By this time, a sizable crowd of neighbours had come to our support. We discovered that the other telephone was uncut. We succeeded in calling the police. There followed a rather interesting and somewhat amusing police investigation in which the only piece of evidence, a cap lost by one of the attackers, was missing completely. A cap. That's his hat. Unfortunately, down here, things aren't that simple. We and our neighbours, having the nerve to run these turkeys off, were marked, so to speak. Now they're marked. The next night, half a dozen of them tried to stone the satellite station, but were run off by 2 security guards. 2 nights later, they tried to steal my car. That's wrong. They actually got it out from under the house and onto the street when a neighbour foiled their plans, and again, these gutless wonders took off running. By this time, PTC, Postal and Telecommunications, had already offered us security guards after the first attack. But a local security firm on the job, they put a local security firm on the job, and they put a man in the yard to patrol the area. So, next night, at about midnight, he intercepts 3 banditos trying to cut through the fence again. He ran them off, and they took off, and then came back with about 10 more and attacked the yard, our house, and the house next door. Unfortunately for them, the guy next door had a short fuse, a shotgun, and 2 handguns. So we woke up to a lot of hollering, rock bouncing off of the walls, and tin roofs, and shots from next door. Well, this was somewhat spontaneous on everyone's part. Unfortunately, the guard thought our shooting neighbour was a rascal, shooting at him, and he came beating on the wall, yelling for assistance. His radio didn't work, and he couldn't call his base for reinforcements. What a fiasco. Anyway, the upshot of the whole thing is that we had to move, as we were dragging our neighbours into the turmoil, and since we can leave here, but they can't figure we had better call off the war before somebody got hurt. Yeah, but they can't. We figured we had better call off the war before somebody got hurt. PTC gave us a suite of rooms, 3 rooms, plus bathroom at a local hotel right on L Beach. It is a bit crowded, and we only have a matter of months to go, so we are really going to relax much as possible, enjoy it. Nothing untoward has happened since we moved out to us. Unfortunately, though, they came back and attacked Valley, our neighbour place, once, and then next to him, they stoned Dr. Taruma's house and stole his car. Boy, I feel sorry for these local guys that are really trying to build a country here where these other jerks do all they can to tear it down. My fence turned purple for a week there. They hit me with a rock. My arm turned purple for a week where they hit me with a rock, but actually we got off lightly. The hotel we are in is quite secure now, as we feel we're still quite safe, and we still be staying until July to arrive back home in August. And you know, Betty would have been raped if they had gone in, and they would have tied Ron up and beat Colin up and tied him up. On the night Ron and family had the official opening of the Earth Station complete with the Prime Minister, Minister of Communications, Minister of Finance, and a host of lesser dignitaries like Chairman of the Board of Directors, Managing Directors, It went off okay, and a local tech did this great, no itches, and I still have a job. He laughed. But anyway, what do you think of that, eh? It's a wonder they didn't get attacked before, because they blended right in, Betty and them. I think most people thought they were blacks, because they blended right in, but then they attack everybody anyway. They attack their own and everything. So other areas of postal communications have been doing as well. I see, unfortunately, they have postal rates right after the opening, and I'm sure everyone thinks it is to pay for the new Earth Station. It gives you an idea of some of the goings on this way, just in case you think Canada is the only country with a funny postal system. Shopping around for the best prices even works with postal rates. A woman went to 3 post offices in Moresby to check the cost of posting periodically, and all gave different answers to the same questions. For 150 grams. One said 35 toya each, the other said 115 toya, and the last said 24 toya for 151 to 250 gram. Two said 50 toya, while one said 36 toya for 251 to 350 gram. Two said 75 toya, while the other said K 1 kina. That's 1 kina. Sounds like the new postal rates have got PTC workers bamboozled. A sleepy postmaster in the wilds of East Sepik has been giving the credit controller of Madang Company more than her share of headaches. The credit controller had been waiting for days for a check to arrive from a customer who swore in the Bible that he posted it. Indeed he had, but but because the plane departed from the town daily at 8:30 a.m., the postmaster didn't get to work until 9 a.m. No mail had left the joint for about 12 days. So this is really something. So Ron says he finds advertising down this way very interesting. While you guys are petitioning the mayor in Winnipeg over spraying you with Baygon, they promoted down here as the greatest louse killer since raw DDT. He says he still hasn't got the big Intelsat report done, and it doesn't look too promising for the immediate future. It has been one very busy month. My number 2 man went on holiday. In about 10 days, it was confirmed that yours truly is going to South Korea. That's when, for a conference on April 27th to May 13th. That's him. Seems like they need a representative at the Intelsat meeting, and you guessed it, my popular demand. The only one they want to risk having shot down by a MiG-33 is me. My other consolation is my travel itinerary: Moresby, Singapore, Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore, Moresby. But he went to all that. He had a great time. He really enjoyed it. Oh, Annette, this is about people next door to me. Yes, feast your eyes on that, Annette. Oh, no, that's in the office. On that stuff that he wrote. Then you and the elders sit down to figure out how many new suits old Uncle Ron is going to come home with off of this one, like what he's going to make. But I don't think it's worth it. Man, the potential is staggering when you consider the number of times I can change currency on daily fluctuating rates. Mind-boggling, isn't it, girls? I almost wish you were here to process my claim when I get back. These guys down here are no competition at all. He says, oh well, Betty and Colin are not that well impressed. They can't figure out why PTC doesn't send them along to look after me. One good thing, the hotel we are in is so secure. I wouldn't want to go anywhere if they were still out in the hills of Garahoo. Betty's already getting order ready. Lounging jackets, smoky topaz jewellery, a lacquer jewel chest, just about everything I think she'd like, she says. I better come up with something pretty good if I skip out leaving them on their own. They keep reminding me. I got cold, I think. Actually, they are a pretty good crew to be with, and after our little episode the first of the month, we know we work well as a team in emergencies. Betty says that is the scariest I've ever been, but she sure performed well when the chips were down, and when Vincent was her alarm well, that made the blighters run. That girl can make quite an uproar when she wants to. We aren't the only ones that have problems. It is fairly common on a daily basis. I see in today's paper some people in Walkatron to raise money for their schools were attacked. Take a look at this poor guy's contending with trying to start up and run a business, to say nothing of all the people who will be deprived of his bus service. Oh yeah, this is the bus system. Oh, something's really bad there. Burt's company has stopped operation after an armed robbery and wounded a driver. The Walkabout bus service company altered its rural routes to Irito Highway and Naji Highway, Sorrigeti and Surumamdan. Owner Mr. John well above said his drivers and bus crew refused to drive the routes because of the rascals. The driver and crew returning home to eat on Sunday was stopped by several armed men at Angabanana Bridge on the Irito Highway. They were robbed of K500. and the driver was attacked and received a deep cut to his head, and he was admitted to Fort Resourceful. Mr. Wells said he had stopped 18 buses, putting 40 men out of work. It meant that he was losing K. 1,120 kina a day in takings, hitting his K 12,000 a month payments on his K 200,000 loan. Kina. I guess being Kina. 100,000 kina. He now wants the Land Transport Board to grant him a new license and operate urban routes. So this goes on and on and on, you know. But he wasn't right, but our neighbours to the west of us seem to be taking a more direct, effective approach on the problem of law and order to cutting off their heads there. Jakarta security forces in South Sumatra are to execute criminals on the spot because of sharp increase in honest robbers, murderers and rapists caught in the act and will be shot. That's in Indonesia. So I still got a lot of stuff, and I'm at the end of the tape. Can you imagine? I got stuff for about 10 tapes. But I'll put some more on some other tapes when I write to you, because I'm almost to the end of this one. I didn't think my tape would go like this, you know. But bringing you bad news, you know. It's just a gorgeous day there. I'm going to get on my bathing suit and I'm going to go down for a swim. But I'm not going to do it like a couple of weeks ago because I nearly drowned it. I was on this rubber tire and it overturned on me and I was underneath and I swallowed a bunch of water, and I had to fight for the top. I was really fighting. But I came up, but I won't play with that thing anymore because it just knocked me under, So now I'll just on a float or whatever, but not now. I think I'll just have a little swim, but I won't go too far because I'm alone down there. There's Jim Cobus door, a couple of doors down. You remember the Cobuses, Joan, Mike and the other fellow and all that. They're all married now with kids. And Mr. Cobus is always working outside. So most of the campers are gone there. Like there's nobody here this week. You can tell it's nearing the end of August. But the weather's still very nice. So I must go around to see if I can find Ernie, you know. Where the heck Ernie is. I think maybe Ernie met his Waterloo last night. I hope not. So I still got a lot of stuff, so I'll put it in another tape sometime. So I know you like enjoying it. So, Jeffrey and Nathan and Lewis, so I hope you enjoy all this gabaloo I got on here, or whatever it is. So I hope you're having a nice summer and going to the beach and enjoying yourselves. And sorry we couldn't see you this summer, but so you haven't got it. See, you can't take his holidays so soon anyway. You have to take him in the winter, so we may as well go where it's warm, I guess. So, but Jean's going to have somebody down here with her all the time. Like Wendy's coming down for 2 weeks, and you know, there's always be somebody, and she can go up and stay with us, or now she'll be able to go and stay all over. Because Bob was so sick, it was such a strain on her. You know, very hard on Jean, very hard. Like we just followed her all over. But I guess I think when he was going, you know, like. He started to really follow her around. Because we caught him staring at us one night. He was staring from one to the other and twiddling his thumb, you know. He was thinking. It's really sad, you know. It's just as hard on the people, you know, like the one going, it's just as hard on the people watching him suffer. Because he choked so much. But anyway, I guess, Jeffrey, you'll be getting ready to go to school now soon, Adam's getting all ready too. So I have a lot of fun with Adam. He sure did a lot of swimming. He's a nice little fella. You would really like him. You might find him hard to make out on a tape, but, you know, if you listen real good, you can hear what he's saying. He's a real nice little guy. Because we really enjoy being with him. Jean's going to bring him back for a little while, so that'll really help her, you know. Because a kid, you know, always keeps you laughing, you know. Just looks at you and... He said something too. What did he say to me? And I can't think of it. Oh, when I went in, everybody was crying. He came over and says, "Aunt Georgette," and he'd laugh and give me a big kiss. But he knows what's going on, you know. But something like that, you know, made everybody laugh. So it takes to have a kid around is good. You know, it keeps people laughing. Because that was a very sad time. Oh, and here's Sam the dog coming. This is the community dog. You know, everybody has to feed him, and he's really been at me lately. But I had all kinds of meat left in the fridge here. The power was off, you know, so it wasn't fresh enough for us to eat. So I've been feeding him meat ever since yesterday. I mean, since Tuesday when I came back. I'm getting all mixed up here. But everybody says, how can you stay down there alone? I like it. Because it's so relaxing. I go from place to place looking after the 3 places, the cottage.